Our next guest is known as the breakdancing realtor, and for a good reason. Please welcome back our Chula Vista expert, Anthony Manzon.
Oh, this is me. Get it on right here. I would love to break dance with you, but I can't do it.
That was pretty good.
That was as good as it
I thought
gets.
you were a real robot for a second.
Thanks for coming back on the show, man. It's great to have you, as usual. Last time we covered some great topics. Time before that, great topics. Huge promotion there. Today is about how to select an agent. Really crucial, especially this time of year in your home market of Chula Vista. Mm-hmm. I talk to homeowners every day because we're in the midst of a casting call for Win This Listing. And been talking to some people down there, and you've mentioned it before. There's a really short sweet spot window where you can really have your cake and eat it too, list your property. But I think what is challenging about the Chula Vista marketplace is that for homeowners, is that there's so many agents in that marketplace, right? There's a lot of transactions. If I was an agent, I can understand why you want to be there. There's a lot of transactions. The price point's decent, but there's a lot of people who can afford to buy in that area. So the question is, how do you begin in the selection process? We know you've had almost instant, stardom in the San Diego real estate community because you guys work so hard. You differentiate in so many different ways. You're young, and your energy is felt. Your passion is felt by everyone who's around you. So it's no wonder why you guys have been successful. But for the average homeowner, how do they figure out who to go to?
That's the reason why I really wanted to talk about that today, is because I felt like in today's market, so many people are, like, this is the time of the market where a lot of people are starting to list their properties. And one of my favorite sayings is, you don't know what you don't know. And just because somebody has a license doesn't mean they're the right person for the job, especially matched up for the goals, your goals, as a home seller. So, I categorize it in a way where, three things you really want to look at when you're picking your listing agent. Number one is look at their days on market. Every agent has a track record, just like every lawyer has a winning and losing ratio. Not all realtors are the same, even if they're with the same company. So look at their days on market. Compare their average compared to what the average is in the area. So I know that in Chula Vista, the average right now for 2016 so far, so just from January to now, is about 33 days. So if you work with the average agent, your property should sell in about 33 days. Whether or not that's the speed you want to get your home sold, that could be the right agent for you. I know for my team, our average days on market is 16 days. So when we get properties listed, we're about on market half the amount of time as the average agent. So first thing you want to look at is days on market. The second thing is you want to look at is your sales to list price. So what that means is basically whatever that agent is listing their property at, what is the overall outcome of the sales price? So, the agent might list at $500,000, but if on average every home sale they're selling at $490,000, that's just showing that their average sales price is 98%. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you want to pick, what is a good sales to list price? I know my team, our average list price, this isn't to brag, but the results are there. Yeah. We sell on average at 101%.
Yes.
Yeah, so whatever we're listing at, and this is based on all of our sales for 2016. So whatever we list a home at, we're on average selling at 3% higher than the average agent. And why? Because our system works. It worked for every home seller that we worked with last year. I mean, some were higher than others, but on average it was 101%.
Well, let me, so 3% higher. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that the market average is 98%?
Correct.
List? And I would say it's even a little less than that because that market average is factoring in your 101.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
true.
If you take you against the field, it's actually a little less than that.
Yeah.
So, but let's say it is 3%. You just paid for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The other agents aren't paying for themselves, right?
Yeah.
You just paid for yourself versus the competition. So that is a huge thing. So days on market to get a feel for how efficient the agent is. So you would say, hey, what's your average days on market for you versus what's the average days on market for everyone else? Mm-hmm. Look at that. If their average days on market is a lot longer, there might be an explanation. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's one property, that one seller who just, wouldn't take less than $750 and the houses were $650 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's an explanation like that. But these things are averages, so they should work out over time. And if someone has one house that can crush their overall average, maybe that person isn't doing enough business, or maybe they haven't had enough experience in order to be able to actually do that. Mm-hmm. So days on market, I love that one. And list to sale ratio, I'm so glad you brought that up because there are a lot of agents that don't want to talk about that.
It's an important stat. I mean, the
think it's
numbers
huge.
speak for themselves. You know, the data is there for a reason. That's the one thing that doesn't lie, is the data. You know, and that's what I think is important. You know, I said those are the two things, and then the last thing I think that's important is, you know, not the experience of the agent, because I get that all the time. I'm a young agent, so I know that I don't have this long track record like other agents do. But what bothers me is when agents say they have 10 years, 20 years in the business, and they sell one home a year. And, you know, so what I look at more is what is the experience in today's market? Because, you know, that agent that has, you know, 10 years in the business selling X amount of homes, they were really good at, let's say, a past market, but that's not relevant today anymore. You know, you want to work with an agent that has a proven success record in today's market. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, look
more
at the
about
track.
total number of transactions and homes sold versus years.
Yeah, exactly.
In the business.
Look at the total, what's relevant in that neighborhood, and what's relevant to today's market.
That's awesome. So there's your three things right there. Yeah. You want to know how to select an agent, you ask them about days on market, their average versus the market average. You ask them about lists to sale ratio, their average versus the market average. You can just see right there. And then, of course, experience being number of reps, what I call reps or repetitions, which is actually facilitating the transaction from start to finish. How many deals have you done? If you've been in the business 2 years and you've done 200 deals, you've been in the business 20 years and you've done 200 deals, you guys are pretty much the same.
I would say the newer ones at a better advantage because they're more relevant, like right now.
Their transactions are more relevant.
You're selling the house right now, not 20 years ago. You know?
Yeah.
That's true. What is nonsense? Let's go to the other side.
Okay.
What matters not at all that people might think actually does matter?
I know I'm going to cause a lot of havoc by saying this, so
Perfect.
I would say, I'm just going to say it. You know, listing agents, discount brokerages. Just because, you know, they charge, you know, 1%, 1.5% doesn't mean they get the same sales price or the end result as, you know, a full commission agent. You know, no, I'm not going to say that. It's going to cause too much havoc, but I would say it doesn't matter what the agent is charging for the property as long as the end result is there. So let's say, for instance, you know, a discount agent might charge, you know, 3% or 3.5% for the sale of the home, where for me, I'm getting on average 3% more than the average agent. So if we compare it that way, I should be charging 6.5% or 7% to break even with them. Does that make sense? You know, always look at the net. You know, what I talk about with my clients is, at the end of the day, which agent puts more money in your pocket? You know, I like to work with the investment-minded clients, the ones that look at the outcome and not just the upfront pain. Because if you want to trade the upfront $1 and you're getting $1.50 on your return, that at the very end, at the net, at the end of the sale, that's definitely more important. That will put you at a better situation at the end of the sale, rather than just paying the $1 up front and getting $1 at the end. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
So that's my thing.
I like it. I love it.
That's my thing.
It's a breakdancing realtor right there. Anthony Manzon. We'll try to get you to get some moves on the way out today. And I'll add one thing to that because you just mentioned it. Seller net sheet is what it's called. Ask for that.
Yeah.
If someone like Anthony can come in and say, well, this is what I would list your property at. Typically, I sell for a little bit more than what I list. Here's what your net would be if that turns out to be the case. Boom. You know pretty much to the penny how much money is going to come into your pocket. If someone can't show you that or doesn't show you that, big red flag, in my opinion. Anthony, thanks for your time today, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Smarter San Diego TV. Tune in next week, same time, same channel. We'll see you then.